Alright, can you hear me? Maybe this will work. Okay, so been into the gaming and homebrewing the 3DS system, and I did it with my 2DS, right? And then I decided to get a new 2DS XL, which has the better processor, which you can play PlayStation games on, and all the other things that essentially the older units can't run. So I purchased a system, but it was hard because they gone up in price so much that like it's hard to buy one with a reasonable price to it. So I wound up buying a Japanese version, which has its own issues. When you try to do all these little workarounds, like traditionally when you have another region Nintendo system, like a Japanese system, it won't play North American games. So you have to homebrew it in order to even play the games that you want to play. And naturally, I want to play them off of an SD card so I don't have to carry a bunch of cartridges around. And so I purchased a Japanese unit, and it looks really cool. It's got like neon green and black. It's just like super fresh looking. It's very ill. So here's how my journey started. Okay, so I go to order it, and it tells me it's gonna come in like about a month, like a little bit more, a little bit less than a month. So I started getting like kind of excited, you know. I even had dreams about like going to secondhand stores and trying to find systems and stuff like that. People trying to like lowball me for trades, and then try and like charge me too much for things that I was trying to buy off of them. And the next morning, I find out that that the product that I bought was being expedited. Like, I had contacted the seller and told him after a little while, like, just ship it, dude. Like, what are you waiting for? And he was like, I got a 400-piece item that I'm trying to sell right now, so I'll try and do what I can. And then 2 days later, it's telling me that it's about to arrive to my house. Like, I see it go from like saying it's in Japan to all of a sudden it's like touchdown in Indiana. And I'm a little bit perplexed because like I thought it was gonna literally ship. I didn't know it was going by FedEx Air because I didn't pay extra for shipping. So I got like super excited. It started saying on the tracking number, it's gonna show up this afternoon. So I start like hearing noises. Like I hear like the door downstairs opening, and I'm like, that's the mailman. It's a mail. And then I open my door and I look. And it's just a guy walking his dog. And so like I got super excited about it, you know. I was like, just sit right here and cozy up next to my refrigerator and just listen to the front door. And I started looking up updates, and then all of a sudden it said your address was wrong on the package, so it's going back to the distribution center. So I went through a few different calls to try and make sure I could go pick it up. Then I went to go pick it up, and naturally my ID wouldn't allow me to pick up the package because my address wasn't correct. So I had to go produce some mail from my car. Luckily my car wasn't super clean because I had some old mail in it, and that helped me to pick up my product. So I opened it up, and it was in decent condition. It was in like the original box. The box was in good condition. It had unopened AR cards in it, and naturally it had like some grime and grit, and it like kind of had some nasty going on in there, and I was looking forward to cleaning it up and stuff like that. But it turned on, it did okay. Next step, I go to buy a SD card, and I spent the majority of the day actually trying to track down an affordable SD card, and they didn't have them anywhere. Like, I was having trouble finding like anything like that, and I couldn't find any like peripheral gear for the system for when I'd get it. So now I'm on the hunt trying to get a card for it, because I'm about to go home with this system and home brew it. And I'm gonna go in on this story because it's a journey, right? So I get the card and I get home and I start messing with the system, and naturally, because it's all in Japanese, I have to use like a translator on my phone through Google Lens so that I can read all of the text that's in the system. And it's not too difficult, but it's something that's just more tedious than it should be. So I start backing up the SD card, and there was some really cool stuff on the system because it was used. There's like audio of like Japanese children like recording themselves going like "Rah!" And then you like tap another one, they'd be like "Rah!" You know, like you tap another sound and it'd be like "Nyam, nyam, nyam, nyam." You tap another one and it'd be like So then I looked at the videos and pictures, and there was pictures of like Super Smash Bros. And all the characters were in like weird like sexual positions. Like, I'm not gonna say who so that this video doesn't get flagged or whatever, but it was like all of your favorite IP from Nintendo in varied Kama Sutra positions, as you would say. And then on top of that, there was like some videos of like family events. Like this dated back to like 2015, 2013, around that era. And there was a video that looked like it was shot in the 50s or 60s. It was insanity. It was like a trip to Disney World, and I'll post the video maybe. I don't know if I'll get it flagged, but it's like a video of like a parade in Disney World in Japan. And like, this is before cell phones had cameras on them really well, so there's people like holding up their cameras and stuff like that, filming it, and there's like floats going by of like Disney characters and like just like these like choreographed moves and stuff like that. And it was like really wild watching it. Like I'm probably overstating it, but we were watching it and we were just like, wow. And then there was also like these videos of like the kid's mom, like on another DS. Like, it pans over to the mom and she's taking pictures of like 4 kids like posing. They're all just like, and they're like all doing these dramatic little kid poses. And it's not what I bought the system for, but that was on the system. So anyways, I backed that stuff up, and then I start going through the process of trying to do the home brewing, which is like, it's easy, but it's also like, it's just kind of annoying. Like it's because it's in Japanese, like it's hard to read everything to try and go through these processes, but it's getting easier and easier as time progresses. My new SD card in here. So I start to take care of that stuff, and one of the things it has you do is go to a website. So you have to click on a QR code in order to get to the exploit, so that you can add this stuff that will like hack the system. And it starts erroring out, and I'm looking up the errors, and it sounds to me like the camera in the DS is disconnected. So like, fortunately, because I've been through this process of opening up Nintendo products, I have a tri-wing screwdriver and I know what I'm doing, but I've never seen the inside of one of these things. So I start opening it up, and it's a little bit complicated for my eyeballs and my fingers, because it's just a little bit different than I expected. And yes, the ribbon cable had been slightly not tucked in all the way. So I got that in there, and we were Gucci. But what I discovered was, when I put the stuff back together, I had broken the SD card. The SD card snapped as I pulled the shell off. Like, I guess like the SD card pokes out enough that like the shell of the system broke the thing, just like did one of those to it. So be sure to take your SD card out before you modify your stuff. Also, I was like cleaning the thing off with ISO, so I actually, when the camera started working, it was all foggy because there was alcohol all over the lens, so it just looked like that. and it wouldn't go away for a while because it was all like steamy. This is what in the industry we call a gel. A lot of times like in the what do they call it, like the soap opera era, they put this effect on the stuff. They'd be like, Brenda, is that you? She'd be like, yes, it's me. And you're like, I thought you were dead. She goes, no, I am dead. I'm Brenda's twin sister. Stuff like that. So, this is dope. I should do this for a music video. Just start spitting on my lens. Don't call me gross. Your mom used to do that and mess with your hair. She used to put your spit in your hair, and then you'd go to school like that. So what else happened? So the system worked okay, and then I started working through the homebrew stuff, and I had messed up one of the files, so I had to go back and add some more things. And then over time, I got it to work okay and stuff like that. It went all good. Naturally, I still haven't upgraded the other card because I broke it. So I started messing with smaller apps and stuff like that because I don't want to start dumping my whole library onto the 4 gigabyte card because it'll max out pretty quickly. So I started playing Super Mario 64. There's an inject on the 3DS that's I think it's based on the PC port. So you put that in there and it plays totally normally on the new 3DS systems, which is cool. But I already beat 64 recently twice, maybe 3 times. During the quarantine, I think I beat Super Mario 64 3 different times, and I played fan-made games of it and stuff like that. So it wasn't really something I want to do with my life, but it seemed as though the joystick on it, the little nub, was drifting. Mario would you turn on a dime and then he would kind of walk in place but not move past the square that he's on. And I was like, man, if this joystick is messed up, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'd probably have to go on Amazon and buy a $4 stick and then tell you about my journey with opening up the system. But that happened. So the place I bought the stick from, the SD card, they let me return it, no questions asked, and I got a different one that might be a little bit more sturdy even. And so I'm gonna start messing around with that. But that was my journey with the system. It was instead of just being able to just turn it on, there's a lot of things getting in the way. I was telling this dude at the store, he didn't believe me that the thing had broken, and I was like, this is the 3rd SD card I've actually seen break with my own eyes. So the DS is one instance, and I think it's kind of my fault, but I had one sever diagonally in a cell phone. It just split somehow, and I just don't understand. And then I knew a guy who used one in a GoPro, one of those mini cameras, and the micro SD card snapped in half, right down the center, and so the nub with the pins was stuck inside there, and he had me tweezing it out because it was stuck in there. So the SD cards do break. They do that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I haven't changed the region on the system because apparently you don't have to. And frankly, it's kind of cool to open up something that's all in Japanese and then you kind of giggle to yourself and you say, I have a lot of video games in my little thing in my Japan box. But it's I already have another system. So if there's any menu items that I can't read too well, I can, play with both of them and then be able to predict what the menus say. The other thing that was really weird about it, which I will get into, was I was trying to see if the browser would work because there's some sort of an issue with the camera and the internet on the old systems. There was a card where the ribbons were connected, so the Wi-Fi wouldn't work and the cameras wouldn't work. And I looked this stuff up, and Nintendo would charge $100 to repair it, or $80, and people would be like, I spent almost that much on the system, so what am I going to do? Naturally, they don't do support on that stuff anyhow, so it's up to you and I to fix these things. So when I tried to open up the web browser, I typed in script flip because I know my stuff will show up on the web because I've got stuff on different websites. You know, like I didn't know what to type in because these things are really restricted. And it had its own restrictions because in Japan you can't browse the internet naturally like as a child. So it actually required me to pay 30 cents to activate unrestricted web browsing, which was something I had no idea was ever going to happen. So my bank flagged a weird charge of like 33 yen from Nintendo. You know, so there's something that's like very bananas about it. But anyhow, the system looks pretty cool. Hopefully the joystick works fine. If you're watching this and you know about like homebrewing and stuff like that, let me know about something that like seems kind of like rare that I wouldn't know about it that I could do to employ the system for more. Like whether or not, like, I don't know, maybe you could watch maybe you could watch Bamboozled on the system through a bootleg website or something. But hopefully things will get even cooler with the emulation on it because so far PlayStation games work well on it. I haven't put RetroArch on it because like I don't like RetroArch or Arc. I don't understand it very well, so I try to not use it, but there's a few emulators that run well on it. So anyhow, hit me up to some DS crud. I heard that some things have been updated recently, so I'm going to learn myself up about that and then, you know, have some more portable fun. For now, that's it. Toodaloo.